All right. Welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel. If you're listening to this the day after, the Strickland Podcast Network, I am Sam. I am joined by Schwinn and Jeff. Knicks win, ending the losing streak at 112 to 108 to the Los Angeles Lakers. And a huge bounce back game from both Randall and Barrett, bringing our win total to 40 wins on the season. Second time in the last 10 seasons that the Knicks have hit the 40 win mark. So
That's so sad.
it is. It's very sad. It's very sad, but here we are, Knicks 40 and 30. Are we back in the sixth spot? I mean, back in the fifth spot, or are we still in sixth because I'm not sure with the Nets. They have the 39 and 29 record.
We are in the sixth spot right now because we're behind
Okay.
Brooklyn by percentage points. I just want to say real quick that Nikola Jokic should not win MVP because he lost today, and that was a joke.
Easily.
I'm sorry, that's a joke. He needs to get fuck off. Their entire team needs to fuck off right now. They've been the biggest pieces of shit for the last week. Just completely worthless, culminating in a pathetic loss today to the dastardly Brooklyn Nets.
But yeah, I mean,
it was a
Jeff.
Pretty. I was just gonna say it was a pretty nice summation of Jokic's entire life on the Nuggets, though. Like, it puts up the most ridiculous stat line ever. Literally 35 points, 20 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and they're plus 14 in 40 minutes. And they lose the 8 minutes he sits by 16 minutes. But, fuck Jokic, right? Like,
he didn't do us any favors in the standings today. So, yep, screw him.
I didn't watch the game. All I know is he should not win a third straight MVP. But that's just me. I'm gonna leave it that. We're going to talk about the Jokic MVP thing.
But yeah, let's get back to the Knicks. Julius Randle, huge bounce back game. 18 points in the first quarter. He started off the game looking like it was going to be a repeat of last game, and then all of a sudden just like absolutely turned it on. Playing with pace first on offense, and then turned it on defense with the rebounding, and then just pushing in pace. Definitely set the tone for the team. And, once he started doing that, a lot of the other guys on the team started doing that too. I noticed his intensity changed a lot more, especially when Josh Hart and Deuce came in. And shout out to those two. They had great games tonight. The stat sheet doesn't do them justice. Well, maybe it does. McBride a little bit of justice with 3 steals. But yeah, I mean, he played a great game. We kind of were all wondering about Deuce McBride. He didn't play a lot the last game, and then quickly ended up playing the whole second half. I guess he was saving Deuce for tonight. So I guess it worked.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, just a master stroke from Tibbs there.
He was saving Deuce for the Lakers game.
Yeah, he couldn't play Deuce like 10 minutes last night because he needed that. He got to really push him today for like 12 minutes.
But yeah, I mean, shout out to Deuce. He had a great game. Shout out to the whole bench unit, I guess, tonight. I mean, they really, like, every single one of them contributed in their own way, and really contributed to this win. Hartenstein ended up closing the game. 10 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. Had that really clutch steal that got RJ on the break to Obi. And yeah, we even got to see Josh Hart with RJ Barrett close tonight, which has been something that we all kind of discussed on here a bunch about the weirdness of the fit with RJ and Josh Hart, and how that works together. It didn't really work today, I would say, but like the Knicks still pulled out a win, so I guess we'll take it at that point. But
it's there's two factors that make it, I'm not going to say less weird because it's still a problem long term. First of all, Grimes isn't shooting nearly as much as he should. So, like, the theoretical advantage of Grimes over Hart or RJ is moot if he's not going to shoot like he should. And then Hart actually was shooting a little bit more tonight. There were a couple where there was one where he hit in the zone where he got the initial pass, literally was uncovered, didn't shoot, passed it back to RJ. And RJ was like, no, man, you're open, like, and passed it back to him. And then he pulled. Like, he's just got to get more used to shooting those. And I thought he did. Like, didn't he shoot? I think he shot more threes than Grimes tonight. Yeah, he shot 4 threes to Grimes' 3. So, like, look, I mean, I'm 100% with you, Sam. Like, we talked about it. We're usually in lockstep. But, like, we can't talk about how, like, oh, we need Grimes out there for a shooting if he's not going to shoot. And that's, like, a different problem we can discuss. Also, just a quick side note that I found really weird. I was watching the Blazers Pelicans game tonight. And they were talking about how Matisse Thybulle is shooting 40% from 3 since joining the Blazers. And the Pelicans announcer was like, yeah, I talked to Matisse before the game. And I was like, why are you shooting so much better than you were in Philadelphia? And he said, Matisse said, oh, I finally have a coach who believes in me shooting, which I found really strange because Josh Hart said the same thing after leaving Portland. So, like, Josh Hart leaves Portland and he's like, oh, yeah, Chauncey didn't want me shooting. But Matisse Thybulle goes to Portland and Chauncey Billups is like, yo, man, fucking let it loose. Like, I just found that really, really strange.
Chauncey is weird. He's weird if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it. Matisse Thybulle is shooting 40% from 3 on, like, 3 attempts a game or something. Who cares? Fuck him. He's a loser.
Yeshua hates, like, everybody.
I despise him. Matisse Thybulle was like he like shot really well for randomly his like first month and a half in the NBA, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, what could this guy be?" And I'm like, probably
a 3-and-D guy
in college. Probably exactly what was in college. A guy that's an awesome defender who you can basically make unplayable. Like that's what he is. Yeah.
But yeah, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. Most games with 30 points each, Knicks duos over the last 50 seasons. Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell, 5. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, Patrick Ewing and Gerald Wilkins, and Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith, all with 4 games with 30 points each.
Gerald Wilkins, shout out. Once a Knick, always a Knick, baby.
Knicks duos over the last 50 seasons, this is.
Honestly, that makes me like, that's so depressing actually to think about. Like, those are our duos over the last 50 seasons. Like, let's move on, Sam. Do a better job. Be better.
I just thought that was interesting to point out.
Depressing? Like, yeah, is interesting. Yeah, you were like, let's think about the dumbest fucking Knicks stat possible I can talk about here. That just really drives home. That just really drives home the lack of star power we've had over the years.
Oh man. Well, I think we should also give our due to RJ Barrett tonight. One of his
shout out Tyrese.
Yeah, who's been ducking lately. He's doing finals. He's not really ducking, but we're gonna make jokes about it. But yeah, I think we should give some credit to RJ Barrett tonight. He definitely had a great bounce back game. The litany of finishes in the paint was absolutely amazing. The contested layups, the spins, the half spins, all the different moves he was just pulling out. Like, it was just so, I guess, weird to see RJ Barrett just like finish that well in the paint today, but he did. So shout out to RJ Barrett, especially in that fourth quarter where, you really want your stars and your best players to perform, and he did that.
He unleashed his litany of moves, right?
Did you not like my word choice there?
No, I'm just like, I didn't know that you were doing SAT tutoring also.
I don't even need to talk. Like, Schwinn can just I'm just gonna listen. I'm just gonna listen to Schwinn hate on everything and everyone. It's just
Can I just say this? I didn't actually think the Knicks played that well tonight.
They didn't. I agree.
They didn't.
Like, I thought their defense was pretty bad to start the game. I thought it was pretty bad to start the second half. They did tighten up in each half after like the first 5-6 minutes. I don't know what the hell Grimes was doing on D'Lo. Like, D'Lo made some tough shots, but he also got was able to walk into 3 threes where Grimes was just like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Like genuinely, I was watching that. I'm like, so we're just letting D'Lo walk, like, dribble into a 3. Like, we're good with that. It was a weird game. Like, RJ and Randall ended up finishing. Like, I think it's fair to say they both had good games. But even within good games, I thought both of them had like stretches where I'm like, I hate you. Like, I just hate you right now. But and I thought honestly, like, it's so weird because I didn't think Mitch played bad, but it was obvious that Hartenstein just played way better than him today. Like, the plus minus isn't lying to you. That is, he was awesome tonight. Hartenstein, honestly, I think he was the player of the game. He was fucking great tonight. I thought some of his defensive reads were really good.
It's clamps on AD on that possession.
Yeah, he did not bite on AD's pump fakes. He got 2 stops on AD on that one possession, right? That was a really impressive possession. He had that steal late in the game that was pretty big. Like, I just thought he played a fucking awesome game. And, like, it's kind of nice that we have him and Mitch because neither is particularly, like, the paragon of consistency. But if you have both of them, more than not, you're probably going to be fine at the center spot. And I didn't think Mitch played bad tonight. I just don't think Mitch played well, or not. I didn't think Mitch played particularly like this is not a game you'd be like Mitch was awesome tonight. No, this is like it was like a baseline Mitch performance. Hartenstein was actually fucking awesome tonight though. And I thought Randall started the game really poorly. Like, the first like 3 or 4 possessions Lakers had, I think they got 2 offensive rebounds. One of them, he just stood and like watched Jared Vanderbilt run and get a board and like did nothing. But he picked it up from there.
I'm sorry, Schwinn. Can I just hop in here? Like,
yeah,
he was standing the whole game. Like, he didn't try on defense the whole game. He didn't box out once the whole game. Like,
he looks gassed. He looks really gassed.
Yeah, he looks absolutely gassed. But he put up 33, 8, and 5. Like, I don't know how to break this game down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, like this is to me like good teams win games when they're not at their best. Mm-hmm. And the Knicks were not at their best tonight. And they're playing a Lakers team that's hot. Like, I think they're the number 1 defense in the league over the last 11, or coming in tonight, so the last 11 games, so now 12 games. They're probably still number 1 in the league, to be honest, defensively, in that time. So, like, there was that going on. So this is like not the Lakers. Like, the loss we had to the Lakers early in the season was so fucking annoying because we were so much better than that team and we just sucked ass that game. This game was different where it was like, they're actually a good team now, but we are still better even without Brunson. And like, I think that's what made it really frustrating in a lot of ways, where it was like we would stretch the lead out to 7 and then we would have like idiotic, moronic, brain dead decisions that would help them bridge the gap. And then we push it back out to 5 and then we would do something stupid. And we push it back out to 6. We just like, it was constantly a game where you felt like if we just get our shit together for like 10 minutes, we could probably push the game out. And I mean, that's how the fourth quarter was. Like, we pushed the game out in our favor. And I'll say this, like, I'm not going to kill Tibbs for it, but like, I didn't love him coming back with Randall and Quickly when he did. I thought that unit was like cooking. I think
they could have played a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, they were up 7 if I remember correctly when he brought Randall and Quick back in. I get it. Like, I get it. Again, I'm not.
It was also Schwinn. It was a weird thing because so he let them go a little bit longer than honestly I thought. Like, the Lakers called timeout when the Knicks went up 7 with like 8 minutes left, and I was like, okay, like if there's a bad possession, he's gonna get Quickly and Randall up. And the Knicks had a bad possession or two, and he kept him out there. And then literally when he gets them up, they have another bad possession on offense. That was when Hartenstein got the steal, or that was when Obi got that crazy alley-oop. And when Obi was getting back on defense, you saw Quickly and Randall coming to the scorer's table, and it was like, oh, man, this is weird. So, like, I do get it from Tibbs' perspective, but I get what you're saying, too, because it was weird that it felt like the Knicks had the momentum and the bench unit was clearly playing well, and you see Obi running back on defense after that crazy awesome alley-oop, and it's like, oh, they're coming out now, you know? So I kind of get it from both sides.
Yeah, and I thought Deuce was really fucking good tonight. Like,
so good.
Maybe that's probably the best game he's played in a while.
Ages.
Yeah, like, I mean, at least since the Sixers game. And honestly, I thought he was better than he was. I thought he was better tonight than he was in the Sixers game. He was on it. Like, he looked tonight like a guy that, like, when the ball got to him, he was not afraid of it. Like, he He pulled the trigger quickly. He made decisive decisions. I thought defensively he changed the tenor of the game when he came in both halves. He was really, really good. He played with great physicality. I think it's very obvious that Tibbs must like him based on the fact that everything Van Gundy said. I'm like, this sounds like Tibbs told you these things. Like, it sounds like you guys had a nice little heart to heart last night. And, you guys talked about some stuff.
Over candlelit dinner.
Yeah, you guys, maybe had a steak, couple fucking scotches in. Tibbs is like, hey, love the Deuce kid. If you could just make some fucking shots, I play him. But look, this is what it is. Like, this team has consistently shown, and whatever their flaws, they're definitely not a perfect team. Lord knows that. God knows they're not the smartest team down the stretch of games.
Man, if we would just talk about the late game offense, my God.
Like we know all that, but what they do is they fucking battle and they find ways. They compete every night and they find ways to win, even when they're not at their best, even when they're not at full strength. Without Brunson and without Mitch now, I think they're at 2 games over 500. So in games where they don't either have Mitch or they don't have Brunson, they're 2 games over 500. They've won a couple games where they didn't have either. The Miami game, right at home, they didn't have Mitch and they didn't have Brunson. They won that. So like this team has a lot of character and they got a lot of heart. There's really not much else to say about it. And like the nice thing is, I think they're still 4. Are they 4 ahead? No, they're 3 ahead in the loss column to the Heat. And I think they're now 5 ahead in the loss column. Jesus Christ. To the Hawks.
4 of the Hawks, 3 of the Heat.
Yeah. Okay. So like they're in a good spot with that. They have the tiebreaker. So they're 2-2 against the Hawks. They're at worst going to finish 2-2 with Miami. The division record is 500. We're 500 in the division, which if you told me that at the start of the year, I would have been like, fucking great. Let's do it. Sounds good. Like, I would have taken that at the start of the year. This is a good team. They just honestly, you would look at it and you'd be like, if they just win, they're 40-30, so they got 12 games left. If they go 6-6, they'll be a top 6 seed. Like, it's really that simple. And yeah, I understand. Like, I would like to be the 5 seed. I think the NBA would love for us to be the 5 seed. But like, if they finish as the 6 seed, I'll be fine. I'll be totally okay with that. That would be a successful year for me, and it was a fun game.
Yeah, I want to say about the late game offense, because we talk a lot about like where Jalen Brunson has missed, and you saw it tonight. Like, as far as like orchestrating and organizing, all the stuff that didn't end in the lead initiators shooting, like, looked the same. Like, quickly had that one probe that ended in an RJ catch and shoot 3. Great possession. Quickly had multiple times where he created an advantage, got it out to Randall in a good spot. And, you want to see Randall kind of act faster, but he's just more comfortable jabbing. And, but what Brunson does to mitigate that stuff is he's just an elite one-on-one scorer. And Quickly's not there yet. Like, Quickly, when the defense, and I shouldn't say yet, it's unlikely.
You saw it with Dennis Scrotum tonight.
It's unlikely Quickly ever gets there. God damn it, Sam. As a scorer, but that's like the Jalen Brunson just gets you those looks and gets you those high floor buckets.
I'd push back on that, and I'll say this: I think the end of game offense tonight was. I'll put it this way: I think Quickly. He's not the one-on-one scorer, obviously, that Brunson is. I think there was, like, because Randall and because RJ both had it going tonight, I feel like he deferred to them down the stretch instead of attacking situations where I thought he had an advantage to exploit. And he's got to understand, and like, look, this is, when I say this, I mean this is like part of his development as a player. He's got to have that confidence and understanding at times that like it's okay for me to look for my shot here. It's okay for me to look for my shot. He took one shot, I think, in the fourth. He took that pull-up three. I think that was the only shot he took. Yeah, again, like this is another thing. Like he didn't play a bad game, but it was a weird game for him where it was like I thought he deferred too much in the second half. I like really liked how he played in the first half. I thought his first half was really good. I thought in the second half he was too tentative. I thought Randall was just fucking weird all night. I don't even know what to say about him at this point. Like he just confuses me. He had one of the dumbest turnovers I think I've ever seen in my life today. Like he literally spun baseline, I don't remember who it was, wide open in the corner, but then he jumped in the air and tried to force some pass to somebody like above the break on the wing, which led to like the Lakers getting out and getting a bucket in transition. I was just like, I feel like you just made that 75 times harder than it needed to be.
But wait, Schwinn, you didn't say the most ridiculous part about that. He literally looked right at Emmanuel Quickley.
Yeah,
Emmanuel
it was
Quickley
crazy.
was unguarded. Yeah. It was right in front of him. It was 2 feet from him, and Emmanuel Quickley was on an island. And he, rather than just making the super easy dump off, like jumped in the air and did this like fucking pirouette. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was one of the weirdest. Like, I didn't even know how to react to that. Like when I was watching, I was like, this is like, I was like flabbergasted by how dumb of a play that was. But then like, like RJ, like, to not to be outdone at the end of the game, we're up like 4 points. And
he goes into the shot like
it was like
with like 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, what are you doing?
And the funniest thing about that was like the entire time leading in out of that timeout into the possession. And when they're bringing the ball up, Van Gundy was just talking about like, yeah, look, you just want to use the full shot clock. You want to make sure you milk it down. And like as soon as RJ got it, I knew because there was an angle and he put the ball in the front. And I was like,
he's going for it.
I was like, he's 100% just gonna shoot this right now. Like, yeah, I know there's like no other outcome here. Let's just hope he makes it. Didn't make it. By the way, Darvin Ham, maybe like
dumbass.
I've watched a few Lakers games. I think he's probably doing something right, like schematically, keeping guys together, all that stuff, which is important. But like that timeout he took today was insane. And then I don't know if you guys remember this, but the LeBron game where he broke the all-time scoring record or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Down the stretch of that game, he didn't use timeouts when it was like a 3-point game and stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what this guy does at the end of game. Like his end of game stuff is bizarre. But that timeout was like, I was like, what is the point of this timeout here? Like,
yeah, the timeout was like all time bad because like
I literally don't
because he basically he created a scenario where once Josh Hart hit the second free throw, we won. Like the game was over as long like there was no outcome for them to win. It was very weird. It was
the only way they could have won was they make a three or make whatever shot and we turn it over. And the only other scenario where they win is they make a shot, we miss, they foul us, we miss both free throws, and they make a Hail Mary. Like, there's no way for them to win that game after that point. It was ridiculous. Unbelievably bad.
Schwinn, to your IQ point earlier, me and Jeff, we discussed this on
Just real quick, Walt Frazier, I think the Ham timeout was trying to ice Hart. I don't know. I'll just say like I'm against. I think the icing stuff just doesn't work in any sport.
Unless I think in college it might work just a little.
Maybe, but like I would need to see. Like I've never felt like there's statistical. Just anecdotally, even watching these games, like field goals, this type of stuff, like, I don't feel like it works for the most part, and I just think coaches go to that stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. I thought it was dumb. It was dumb. It was a dumb timeout.
It definitely was. But yeah, as I was saying, Schwinn, yesterday, me and Jeff were talking about this on the Clippers post game about where we missed IQ. I mean, where we missed Brunson. And you were talking about how IQ hasn't really developed into like not necessarily the one-on-one score, but like having the mentality of like I need to go get mine. And you saw that in the Clippers game a little bit too as well. where he just didn't really go for stuff at the end of the game when we could have like.
I thought the Clippers game was weird. I thought he did go for stuff, but he went for it too late. Like it was like a 9-point game, and he was like, "Okay, fuck it. Like I'll start looking for my shot now." Like, and I don't view it as like I don't think it's like I actually don't think it's a lack of confidence in himself. I think it's like, oh no, I need to get Julius and RJ, and like I got to get them going. I got to defer to them. And at some point, like I get that, and it's not the worst mindset to have in some ways, but it's also like there just need to be sequences where he asserts himself. Like there were too many possessions today where somebody get the rebound, and it's like they give the ball to Randall instead of Quickly, and I'm like, let's not do that. And that's not because that's not even to say like don't get Randall the ball, don't let him like no, I wanted Randall to shoot, but like I also don't need Randall to bring the fucking ball up constantly. Like, I mean, we've all played ball. Like, I don't know what the hell it is, but there's a huge difference between just like running up and down the floor without the ball versus like being the point guard having to bring it up. That like bringing the ball up takes energy out of you, and we obviously know that like I think it's obvious that Randall's not. He's a bit gassed right now. You want to save his legs as much as you can, and even if you want to just like get the ball to Randall in an ISO, that's fine. Just quickly bring the ball up and then swing it to him. Like it's not a big deal to me. So I mean that was it. Like again, at the end of the day, it was a fucking weird ass game. But they fucking battled. They got a win. They got a big win. That felt like a big win tonight. That was a good win.
Huge win. Especially the way that we lost the last 3 games. It's just like, yeah, to play an ugly game and win it is a nice change of pace.
Yeah, and it's always good for it's always really good for a team coached by Tibbs to win a game where they don't play well, because like it kind of gives us it lets Tibbs have his cake and eat it too, because obviously as we've learned the last 3 years, he doesn't really care about anything more than the wins. But he always is talking about learning and evolving and growing through mistakes. Well, now he gets to be like, okay, you guys don't get to rest on your laurels. You guys, I don't like how you were doing X, Y, and Z. And so it's good for a guy like Tibbs to keep them. I don't think they're gonna be go into Portland's game and be like, oh, we're back. Like I feel like they're gonna stay hungry going into Portland Tuesday night, which is good for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't felt like I don't think the effort has been an issue. Like there are people that are saying like, oh, they mailed it in against Charlotte. I didn't think they mailed it in. They just shot like shit.
And
I thought they
dead. They had no legs.
They were dead. I thought. I mean, against Sacramento, really at no point in that game did I feel like they're mailing it in. And the fact they made the comeback they made it a game, like clearly they didn't mail it in. They brought the effort there. And I thought they competed hard against the Clippers. I actually thought for 3 quarters, basically until Randall committed that utterly ridiculous foul at the end of the 3rd quarter. I thought to me, they looked like a team. I think I know we've lost both games to the Clippers. I really feel like we're a bad matchup for them. I feel like, all right, I'll just throw this out there. Whatever, fuck it. I was watching when I was watching that game. I was like, if you just got a version of like Josh Hart that could shoot to replace RJ, and you got a pure stretch 4 to replace Obi because they clearly want that backup 4 to be a stretch 4 person because that's what they're turning Obi into. Like that's not a team that's going to like compete for a championship. I do think that team is intriguing. I think I think a team like if you just told me we could get a couple of not as maybe lower usage, but quick decision making wings in place of those guys, it'd be an interesting team. I just like you could see moments in that game where I'm like, anytime we ran the ball in that game, we fucking smoked them, which is why that game was infuriating to me because I was like, you're literally playing into their hands by accepting this half court game. Every single time you're pushing tempo, you smoke them. Anytime you move off the ball, anytime you move the ball side to side, you're getting a wide open shot. And there are just these moments with RJ where it's like he slows everything down. And that game yesterday, like the Clippers game, was one of the most egregious examples that I thought. I thought he was so palpably the worst player on the team yesterday. And in a way that was like utterly destructive to the collective. And that includes the fact that like Randall had a fucking mental breakdown in that game again. Whatever the hell was going on with him. And even in spite of that, I still think like Randall's just so much more naturally talented as a shot maker that like he can play like utter garbage and you're just like, well, give it another shot. And like RJ yesterday, I was so disgusted by his second quarter performance yesterday. Like the entire first half was that second quarter performance. He had this fucking drive he gave up to Paul George that made me want to fucking like take a sledgehammer and just break the TV that I was watching it on. Like it was insane to watch it. And he pulled him right after that. He pulled him right after that. He put Grimes in. And then and I think really what I'm talking about is like after that, so you get these minutes of like quickly Grimes Hart with Randall or Toppin, but like there was Randall the 4-2. And I'm like, I watched that and I'm like, this feels like something. Like I don't know what exactly it is, but this feels like a very solid two-way lineup that just needs a little bit more shooting.
Yeah.
So like if Hart ever wants to shoot again, that'd be great. But like, or if Grimes ever wants to like consistently make a three again, that'd be great too. But like, I don't know. That game was very interesting to me. I have a lot of thoughts on that game. That game felt like a very eye-opening moment for me. I'll say that much.
But to balance it out with tonight's game, you see in the early in the fourth quarter how like the idealized version of RJ can be so important even to this team because like he was out there, he was the only advantage creator in that lineup, and that lineup was cooking because he can get to spots that nobody else can, and it creates these, it creates the defensive scrambles that Tibbs wants out of his offense. And so like when RJ's getting downhill and the defense has to respect him because he's getting to spots and he's making shots, like I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean the impact numbers for the season are what they are. Like people can try and hand wave them away however they want.
I think no. I think what you're saying is like I think we all believe that like the ideal version of this team, like the best version of this team, requires RJ or third player X to be a dynamic shot creator to some extent, and be a penetrating guy that can get into the paint and spray the ball out, like for sure. And that's why I think that's actually some of the biggest frustration I think with RJ, because it's like, I mean, quite frankly, like the best games Quickly has had are just way better than RJ's best games this year. They just are. And that's not like really a knock to me on RJ. It's more like it says a lot about Quick. Quick's just been fucking awesome this year. But like, so you're right. Like you do need that third guy, but it's also hard at times, especially like when you're just watching when you're just talking regular season ball. It's hard to just be like, I mean, I'm telling you, I watched that game yesterday. I'm like, I don't want to trade RJ for OG Anunoby, but I totally get it right now. Like, I totally get it watching that game yesterday where I'm like, less could be more sometimes, especially in the regular season. And I think that's just the hardest part with him, where it's like, man, I mean, even tonight, like he scores 30 points. I thought he played a really good game. I thought he had big minutes, like key minutes in the second half, especially. But even then, I'm just like, can you make a fucking three, dude, please? Like,
the jumper looks.
I don't know what's going on with his jumper.
It looks bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad. Like he had one that he nearly banked in, but it was like I
was literally about to say that word for word.
Like every shot that he looks like he's gonna bank in, it looks so awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Was wild.
And he was wide open. He's wide open. He was wide open, and it was like, I think it might have been. It was either Quickly or Randall that swung at him, and I'm like, and it's like, that's the shot. Like any coach on any team in the NBA, if you're like, you're gonna get a wide open three from the wing for your 2 or 3 guy, your 2 or 3 man. and they'd be like, "Great, take that." And like, I mean, that shot was like, it was hideous.
He's gonna hurt somebody.
I couldn't believe that. Like when it left his hand, as soon as it left his hand, I was like, "Oh, brother!" Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's rough. Like his games look so much better when he's not taking jump shots, which is like so concerning a little bit, I guess. Because
I just want to. I don't know if this is pushback or I just want to say that when I'm talking about with RJ, I think is actually pretty unique to him, even compared to like Quickly. Like, and again, I agree with you. Like, Quickly's clearly been better this season, and like a lot of that has to do with defense. But Quickly's best games have just been better. But I still do think that like the peak RJ, what his best skill set is something only he offers. So like I guess like I just want to make it clear that I'm not saying that like, oh, the optimal version of this team has a third guy, any third guy that can create some offense. I actually think that like the way RJ creates his offense, the way he gets downhill, the way the shots he creates for the team is actually pretty unique to like not just only him, but it is just like a pretty rare skill set. And I don't know, like I almost feel like we're not selling him short because again, the overall impact numbers are what they are, but I do think that like the best version of him isn't just this thing that like, oh, any third option can do. I don't know. I feel like there's a middle ground here that we're kind of missing out on.
I guess where I'm not sure is like I still think that the ideal third guy is a wing that can like operate in mid-range spots, and RJ is just not there at all. I do think like there is something to be said of like he's the most natural dribble drive threat. Like I know Brunson's so he's like Jazz, dude. Brunson's like just doing his own thing. Like he's just like very like it must be so hard to play with him sometimes because you're just like, I have no idea what you're gonna do right now. Like, you want me to roll? You want me to rescreen? Like, I have no idea. But like, some of the issues with him in terms of being like how methodical he is are also good parts of his game. But like, I also just need him to read the floor better. Like, I mean, even tonight, like he had like multiple drives tonight where I'm like, I don't get how you're like you don't understand where the openings are. Like, I don't get how you don't recognize the help is there. You've done your job. Make the simple read. Kick it out to this guy above the break or this guy. Like, I'm not asking for advanced reads. I don't need him to be James Harden or fucking LeBron or Luka or something. But like, you got to understand once you collapse the paint, if you don't have a shot, there's somebody that's open, and you should really probably understand by this point, like, or have a better natural feel for where that open man is, and he just doesn't have it. There was one towards the end of the game where he drove in, drew help, and he had nowhere to go, and he was about to turn it over, or it felt like he was about to turn it over, and I think you could hear like Hart like telling him like calling for it because he's wide the fuck open at the top of the key, and he got it to him, and I was like, Jesus, like thank God he did that, but what like that shouldn't be that's not even a hard read. That's not a hard read. You've got to have a natural feel for that. And I'm still like a little concerned with him. Whereas,
Sir Tunnel Vision of Canada.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's Tunnel Vision anymore. Versus
that is like, not an original name by me, by the way, Jeff. I got that from somewhere else. No, I got that from somewhere else. I have no idea where I got it from, but I saw it on Twitter somewhere. But yeah,
I just think like, you know, I expect more from him at this point. I'll put it that way. Like he had a really good game tonight, so I hope this doesn't come across me like dumping on him, but even within his good games,
you're just making observations.
Yeah, I just feel like he's still leaving so much on the board, and if he doesn't understand that now, like it's hard to keep being like he'll figure it out, figure it out.
Perfect timing for this comment.
Yeah, why are we hitting RJ? He won his game. No, he fucking like give me a break with that. He went 12 with 27. He had 30 points. Like he was good tonight. Don't get me wrong. He was good tonight. He did not win us the game. He had a really good second half. His first half might as well have just been like a fucking, he played some minutes. That's what he did in the first half. Like
he was just the guy.
he's just a guy. I'm not hating on RJ. And you know what? Fuck it. Maybe if I am hating on RJ, so be it. Like we're allowed to fucking like hold him to a higher standard than whatever the fuck this season has been from him.
Yeah.
And the second half of this game is exactly why. The second half of this game is exactly
it makes everything
why.
else that much more frustrating.
What the hell was that game yesterday? What the hell was that yesterday? Like I'm not joking, man. I watched this game at my friend's place in the city, and then we went to a party after that at his friend's apartment, our like mutual friend's apartment. Everybody there's a Knicks fan. We're talking about this. We're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? He looks like he couldn't fucking move yesterday. Like he literally couldn't move yesterday. And I'm like, you're 22 years old. Why do you have these like stretches of games where like you may as well be me? Like that's how he's moving. He's like, like I'm fucking fat and Indian. Like, no, like what the fuck? Like, no, like you're fucking 22 years old. You're supposed to be an elite athlete. Like, why are you moving like fucking, who was the worst running back in the NFL this year? I have no idea. Whoever that was, that's what the fuck RJ was moving like. Like, he was just not together. And I'm like, what is happening here? And like, what made it even more insane? Like, that's why that game yesterday was so infuriating. Because I was like, if RJ and Randall just play normal, like they don't even need to have good games, just play average games, you probably win that game. And that's even with Kawhi going God mode. Like you probably win that game. That's why that game yesterday was so infuriating. And like with Randall, I have a lot more patience for him this year because he's played at a way higher level and he's done it consistently and he's carried us for stretches. Whereas with RJ, I'm like, it feels like he puts together 2 games and he sucks ass for 3, and then he has 3 good games and he sucks ass for 2. And it's like I talk about this all the time on the pod where I'm like, you got to live with this. It's up and downs. Like this is like part, like sometimes it takes guys longer. But I'm not gonna lie, man. When you're going through it, I'm like, I fucking hate this guy right now. Like, please, stop. Like, find some consistency, and the consistency to me has so much less to do with like being a consistent shot maker versus just like, can you just give me 2 weeks of just like you making the right decision 90% of the time. Just to make the right decision 90% of the time offensively. And then today, I mean, look, he played a really good game today, and especially the second half. The second half was awesome. Like, you can't guard Austin Reeves in an ISO? Yeah? Like that's like I can't expect that from you. Like,
yeah, Shwid, before we get to that though, I do want to address the Austin Reeves thing because I think the commentary made a great comment on that. I do want to get to the ad read before we keep going. But we will address that Austin Reeves thing. Yeah, NBA fans, it's time to bring hoops actions to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back. Download the app now.
Sam knows all about bets not hitting, so...
Yo, yesterday I hit Emmanuel Quickly double for plus 1,700. So like,
yeah, but what about like the 15 other bets you had that didn't cash?
I didn't place that much.
He would still make money. Do you know how plus 1,700 works?
Well, it depends on it depends on how many units he put on it.
I put $10 on it to get.
I had RJ over 29.5 plus 600 tonight.
Wow, nice. You just had a feeling?
Yeah.
He always plays well against the Lakers.
He does play well.
One of the KFS guys, I tailed him just because I was like, you know what?
The gamble guy?
What's
Mensa?
up?
Mensa?
I forget who it was. They do the whole like pregame thing. I don't know. It was one of them. I think it was Andrew actually, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, but in RJ we trust.
Some people like to put their bets on the record before games, and other people like to just mention.
All right.
Download the app now and sign up with code TBVN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All
I
right.
just want to read this out. Not the worst, but Zeke is pretty fence low. Shout out the Dallas Cowboys for paying Zeke.
I literally, Schwinn, I was going through all the starting running backs in my head, and I was down to 3. So 2 who I think are actually reasonable answers were Zeke and Leonard Fournette. Fournette was awful for the Bucks.
Yeah, he's really bad this year.
Specifically running. And then one who's just close to my heart is Melvin Gordon. That motherfucker. I do not like that. Him as a football player. I'm sure he's a great person, but
I did really like that when he got cut and everybody, like all the Broncos fans were shitting on him. He was like, "The fuck, man! Like, what did I do?"
He was just. It's just like, I mean, we know it as a Knicks fan. It was a combination, and I know Javonte Williams got hurt, but like it was a year and a couple weeks of him taking Javonte's carries, and then he sucked. Like, so it was like, it was all the stuff we've seen with like Quickly and young guys getting their minutes taken from them, and then whatever. All right, keep going with what you were going to get into, Sam. Sorry.
Yeah, we were going to talk about Austin Reeves, RJ Barrett just not being able to contain him, which the comment, I forgot who it was. I think it was Jeff Van Gundy. He was like, RJ Barrett's like really struggling to contain Reeves. And I was like, man, this is the point that we're at with RJ. Like, God damn, these are the comments that folks is making about him on the commentary. Like, Jesus.
Can RJ do like yoga or like he's so
stiff?
Yeah, he's so stiff through the hips. Like when a guy crosses him,
yeah, it's over.
It's like he's like the fucking.
He has to turn his whole body around.
He's like the fucking Titanic out there. I'm like, you better hit an iceberg, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, you good? It's rough. I'm just like, I mean, there was that one drive towards the end of the game where it's like Reeves did the like most white person crossover I've ever seen on him, and RJ is like, oh my god, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, how? Like, what is going on here? Can you move your fucking feet? Like, please, for the love of God, move your feet. It was brutal to watch some of those. But then, at the same time, like, yeah, like he has these stretches offensively where, like, yeah, like just do this all the time. Is that good? Like, can you do this all the time? I don't know.
It's so weird because, like, offensively, he was able to do all like these spins and pivots and whatnot in the paint tonight. It's just like it's so weird how that works.
Yeah, it was. Again, this game was just weird all around, man. It really was a strange fucking game. I would imagine actually if we look tomorrow, I would imagine the Lakers beat us in terms of shot quality, but I also have no idea how to I don't know that for sure because I think I'm become numb to us missing open threes because I'm just like, oh yeah, no, that we're supposed to miss, right? Like yeah, that's what you're supposed to.
I mean, Julius got so lucky on so many dudes just like missing open threes. Like he just was like literally just like, okay, screw this guy. He's not making this.
Julius is going through one of his really fun defensive stretches where he's just like, I dare you to make this shot. I'm like,
it's not just the half court though. It's worse in transition because you see the rest of the guys scrambling back trying to pick up a guy. There's no rules. You have to like communicate and each pick up somebody. And Julius's rule in transition is I'm just gonna stand here. So the other guys don't know who to guard. They're like, it's so frustrating to watch. It's just like again, he put up 33.
But your point, it's frustrating, but at the same time, you're like, would we have won the game without him though?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not entirely certain.
That's why I said I don't know how to like analyze a game like that because like if you do the rewatch, I'm sure you can find 15 Julius Randle plays where you're like, dude, what the fuck were you doing there? And then it's like, okay, well, he just walked into 33, 8, and 5, and we won the game. So like, all right, I guess that's it.
All right, let's get into some comments because we've been getting into them as we've sporadically. I've seen some pretty good ones so far that I do want to address. Knicks tape. One of the most frustrating things about Thibs' coaching to me is the way he has us run prevent offense when up late. It's really, really annoying and makes things more stressful than they should be. Thoughts?
I am kind of the opinion that I'm less annoyed by him going with that and more annoyed by who he chooses to trust to do those things. Like, I just don't buy Randall as a fourth quarter shot creator crunch time guy. Like not, or at least to be very specific, not in the way that we often tend to use him in those spots, where it's like these telegraphed, just like we're gonna ISO you at the elbow or top of the key, go make shit happen, and like teams can prepare for that. They just know it's coming, and he's not the best decision maker under pressure. We know that. Like he's not necessarily an intuitive playmaker all the time. So, I agree. Like it is definitely frustrating. I also think to some extent he may be at the whims of the talent on his roster. Like I would guess that he would. I feel like if Quickly would just be like, if he would consistently call his own number and deliver, I think Tibbs would prefer that than to trusting Randall. But I also don't think he's going to do that until he actually trusts Quickly. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I get the frustration. I don't even totally disagree with that. I just think it's like, I'm not sure exactly where I feel about it now. I guess is probably the best way to put it.
I feel like it clearly falls somewhere in the middle because Tibbs wants them to slow it down. We've seen it for 3 years. That's what Tibbs wants. But when Quickly and Julius run a pick and roll and Quickly draws 2 defenders and kicks it out to Julius, there's 10 seconds left on the shot clock. I promise you Tibbs is okay with him going there. And just fucking call me next time Julius catches and goes once. He doesn't know how to do it. Like he catches, jabs,
Thanks.
and then the defense.
It's like he's like got to survey the floor before he does something type of thing. Mello is like this too, right? And Julius is like this too, where it's like when they just catch and shoot. Obviously, you're always okay with that, but if they don't just catch and shoot, then it always turns into this like jab step, probe, like get into some mid range spot. Like it's always just kind of a mess. Mello was better at that, obviously, because he's a superior scorer to Julius. But like, I do truly believe that like sometimes the way people talk about Mello now, I'm like, do you guys actually like remember the Carmelo Anthony era? Doesn't feel like you do. Feel like, oh man, what I would do to have Carmelo here to close games, and I'm like, do you guys remember like when he got to the Knicks, he just lost all his fourth quarter closing superpowers all of a sudden? Where it was like, oh yeah, no, he's not actually. Like he had a year in Denver where he hit like 7 or 8 game winners, and like
I mean his earlier times in New York were much more filled with.
When year he got to New York, he was like really really awesome that year in the clutch, and he had some spots the year after that too in 2011-12. Obviously the Easter game is the main one, where he was like he delivered in crunch time, but it was just really weird, and I just think in general like it speaks to how difficult it is to be an end of game shot creator, and just like how hard it is to do that efficiently, which is why Brunson is like, if anything, like all these stretches without him, it just drives home like how important of a player he is, and why like it was a smart decision to sign him. And
I said yesterday, these games are making a nice MVP case for him right now.
But doesn't it also kind of highlight Nick's Tape's point?
You want to lose money.
I'm obviously not placing a bet on that.
Doesn't it also highlight Nick's Tape's point that like there's value in continuing to run the offense, like to run offense? Like why does
every team it's hard though. But it's not like this is where I truly like. I really wonder about this stuff because I think process-wise with Tibbs, there are issues with just like his process of like what he wants to happen at the end of games. But I do buy the argument that like regardless of what your process is at the end of games, without a true like organizing point guard, primary, whatever, it's really hard. It's really hard to consist. Like I was watching those Wizards Hawks games. They played 2 in a row this week. Wizards lost both in crunch time. And I'm watching
a gun to your head to watch those.
I wanted to. I thought they were like the Wizards, just very interesting team to me. I'm like, everybody is like 19 feet tall except for Dylan Wright. Like, interesting team. But like, I'm watching those games and I'm like, I truly feel like I'm watching them and I'm like, man, if the Wizards just had like Fred VanVleet, how many how many more wins do they have this year? And I think it's probably like 5 or 6. It's substantial. It's not like a bullshit amount. And it's like, because I'm just watching their end of game offense, and it's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna run a Bradley Beal, Kristaps pick and roll. Like, it's not easy, and not that anything end of game offense is never easy, regardless of who you have. You know, you get a fucking Michael Jordan, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna get like easy in rhythm shots. You're gonna have to work for it. Right. But like, without that organizing player, it obviously just becomes initially harder. And I guess it's somewhere in between, like, nobody we have on the roster can do what Brunson does, but also, like, it would be nice if he just trusted Quickly a little bit more to just run point in those spots. Like, I hate the Hart bringing the ball up the floor thing. I don't understand that at all. Like, why is that a thing? What is that about? Unless it's in transition, I don't want him coming up to dribble the ball up for a fucking half court set. Get the fuck out of here. It's not doing anything for me.
So weird to me.
Yeah,
Van Gundy talked about it on the broadcast tonight, and it was, and he was basically saying that I'm not saying he's right, by the way, but I mean, Van Gundy knows more about basketball than I'll ever know. So I'm just going to parrot.
He also probably is telling us what Tibbs thinks, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I'm just going to parrot what he says, and you guys.
No, I mean that it's valuable. I don't mean that as an insult. I think it's valuable.
He was saying that what Josh Hart bringing up the ball does is he wants Quickly to start the action.
On the second side with Randall, right?
On the secondary side, it gives him a bit of an advantage because he's on the weak side, and so like, you know, even though it's kind of telegraphed because they do it every single time, like they know the ball's eventually going to end up in Quickly's hands. But
he's also going to end up in his hands to run the token pick and roll and then swing it to Randall back at the elbow or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, but that is the goal. Like Quickly still is the lead initiator, but Josh Hart kind of being the initial initiator. I guess the idea is to give Quickly a bit of a head start. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's what Van Gundy was saying on the broadcast.
I think it would be easier if Randall would like actually like set a screen on those sometimes.
Yeah, that would help a ton.
Yeah, that would help. This is, by the way, I know we've got a lot more comments up top.
Oh my gosh, Point Bird.
I'm not there yet, but I've got to be honest. Like, it is very, very clear how much Tibbs loves Josh Hart, and like he should.
I think he'd marry him. He might actually you know how he was like, oh yeah, you know, I had to make a choice, like it was basketball or like a marriage. Like he might quit basketball to marry Josh Hart.
Yeah, I mean, look.
By the way, for those listening, I still
want to wait for. I still want to wait for a game when both RJ and Grimes play well. Because we haven't seen it. So like it doesn't.
It's never happening.
It doesn't matter because Josh Hart keeps playing well and one of Grimes or RJ keeps not earning the. But like I'm waiting for a game where to see what Tibbs does. Like, because like I don't even feel confident saying that Josh Hart is the default closer with Brunson and Randall because literally he's earned it every single game he's played relatively. So like, yeah, like I think Tibbs is just making the right decision, but I do understand where this comment is kind of coming from because it's so obvious that Tibbs loves him. Like,
and for those listening on the podcast version, the comment is Tibbs sees Point Burks in Hart and it's terrifying.
I also want to say we don't have to re-highlight it, but I highlighted it earlier and didn't say anything about it. Larry Israel said that pointed out that Deuce played 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really good comment because like Quickly only playing 31 minutes is great. That's so like, and
Tibbs kind of had no choice.
What was that yesterday? What the hell was that? Where he's just like, yeah, I know you're
playing the whole second half after you just played 5 minutes.
Deuce was fine in the first half. Like, was he great yesterday? No, he wasn't. But he was fine. Like
he wasn't like a detriment.
You
to
can
the team.
Play him like 3 or 4 minutes and just buy quick some rest. That was fucking bananas. I'm like, what are we doing here? I don't know. That was Tibbs
literally just like a week away from playing the 55-minute game in Boston. He does that. Like that's insane.
So yeah, I absolutely loved it. I loved like I would have been fine with Deuce getting a few more minutes, but whatever. Like if Quickly plays well in Portland Tuesday night and like looks fresh and is hopping around like we know Quickly is, like let's go back to like what Larry Israel said about Deuce playing 17 minutes tonight. Like if he has fresh legs going into Tuesday, yeah, because he didn't go crazy tonight. Like this stuff matters. It has compounding effects. You can't just try to win every single second of every single game because it makes it more difficult to win the future seconds. Like you have to keep the long term somewhat in mind. And I thought Tibbs did a much better job of that tonight. So, anyways, yeah. Good comment by Larry Israel and good job by Tibbs. Just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah. But I mean, please more of playing bench players. That'd be great.
Yeah. Are we gonna highlight this one? As bad as Knicks late game execution has been, them burning the final 20 seconds was sadly one of their better possessions in the crunch.
That was a great possession.
I
It was,
believe it.
and like the Lakers continue to be a hilarious team no matter who's on the court for them.
Okay, I just praised Tibbs, so I can shit on him a little bit right now. Why the fuck did he not challenge that out of bounds thing? It was so clearly off Anthony Davis. Does he think the challenges carry over? He always complains. He's always mad at the refs, and he never challenges anything ever. It's a free roll.
The Anthony Davis one where he saved it, but his foot was like out of bounds already.
My thing with challenges
so clearly
like,
out of bounds. Yeah, and we were up 10. We would have just won the game right there. And it was like,
I
dude,
also
like,
could he have challenged that call in the first half where Quickly clearly got hit on the way up?
Couldn't
that should have been and one.
Yeah, I think you can't challenge a foul.
You should be able to challenge that because you can challenge. You should be able to challenge like I think he's in the shooting motion.
Oh, in the shooting motion. Okay.
He clearly was in the shooting motion. Like he was gathered and going up. Like I have no idea how there wasn't an and one. But yeah, like so my thing with challenges in general are like I think coaches overvalue holding on to them for crunch time possessions.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you can get a possession where you either get a clear regain, so like a call where the ball is supposed to go to the opponent, but it comes back to you. But the best calls to me are like any play where you think you're either going to save points by like a wrong foul call getting called back, or like, hey, my guy got fouled, let me challenge it and get free throws or whatever the fuck it is. If you can gain points, you should always challenge, in my opinion. If you have a very strong confidence level of like, I can win this challenge, and that challenge involves like getting free throws or getting free throws taken off the board for your opponent, like you should always take those. I think you should always take them. And holding on to these fucking things until, oh no, I'm gonna wait for crunch time. Like I think it's very naive. And I flat out I think it's wrong.
Yeah. And you like there is very rarely a time when like making sure you kept your timeouts is more valuable than the point EV that you passed up on. Like you're directly costing your team points by not taking obvious challenges. Like if there's points to gain, you need to gain points. I just don't get it.
Well, there was that game against the Wizards earlier this year where we came back and won that game, thank God. But like you remember in that first half, they were just making everything, right? And we made a little bit of a run. And Denny had the ball on like kind of a semi-transition or whatever. And he drives. And he clearly very, very obviously pushed off Brunson. Like absolutely extended his fucking forearm into his chest and shoved him the fuck off. And he got an and one on that. And I remember like Tibbs didn't challenge it. And I was like, and then he ended up challenging this idiotic call that Mitch got. Like Mitch got a foul call at the end of the game, and he decided to challenge. Was never going to get overturned. But I'm like, that to me, I was like, that's a fucking 3-point swing right there. That's a 3-point swing. I promise you, if you challenge that, you're going to win the challenge because it was so obvious that he shoved off Brunson, and like, and this is not. I would like this is not me just saying like, oh, Tibbs is like the only one. No, I've seen all coaches around the NBA overvalue the fuck out of these challenge. The holding out. Oh, I gotta have the challenge for the end of the game. I got it. you might just not get the opportunity to fucking use it then. So
I
use
think
it when you have something that like a 3-point swing in any game, literally in any game in the NBA, a 3-point swing. Like if you can take 3 points off the board, I can't tell you how important that is. Like
Sure
it
you
could be
can.
like a momentum shifter.
It's so hard for a coach to have 3 points worth of to affect 3 points worth of EV. It's like impossible. Like that is your chance.
I will say this. I think this will change when they change the rules. Probably whenever they do that change of like when you win a challenge, you get to keep it. I think that will change this.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah,
Great point by you. Because they're terrified. Every coach is absolutely terrified of the death scenario where they use their challenge early, it's successful, but they don't have a challenge, and then late some bullshit call happens, and our hands are tied because we don't have a challenge. They're all guarding against that. They're all doing the Tibbs thing where they create worst case scenario in their head and they guard against it. 100% agree with you, Sam. And that's the easiest rule change ever. If you get the challenge right, of course you should get the challenge.
Also,
back.
Why can't that just happen in season? That should just happen right now. Like
it should, but
is
the
there
league
is there
very
some?
stupid.
Are there like a bunch of people in the league that we're not aware of that are like against? Like no, we don't like that. Nobody should keep their challenge.
My guess, Schwinn, would be from a competitive advantage standpoint. A certain coach would get more games with that rule. It's impossible to even it out because you will never have a date again in the season when every team has exactly the same amount of games remaining.
Fair.
So like, right now the Knicks have played 70 games, and the Nets have played 68 games. So Jock Vaughn gets 14 games with that rule advantage, and Tibbs only gets 12. It's just my guess is from a competitive standpoint.
And Jack Vaughn definitely does not deserve to have more games than us with the extra challenge.
And also, I just butchered math. So go easy on me, guys. It's fucking almost 1 a.m. I'm good at math, though, I promise.
Aaron Bender says, is RJ's best skill the ability to get clean looks at the rim, dog shit attempts aside? He can get so many good looks at the basket, but if he can finish at an average rate, that is a huge upgrade. He had some touch tonight, but so little sauce.
Yeah, nobody on the Knicks, and like honestly, like it's rare across the league, can get to the spots that RJ does with the ease he does. It's all about, as Schwinn said, making the right reads and improving his finishing ability slightly. Like I'm pretty sure his efficiency at the rim and within 3 feet, it's not great, but it's definitely better. I'll look it up right now. But like Schwinn talked about earlier, and I'll pass it off to him, he's still not close to making the reads he needs to. So, like, yeah, it's great that he's collapsing the defense in a way that no other Knick does, but it doesn't really matter if he's not going to capitalize on it. And at the start of the fourth quarter tonight, we saw him capitalize on that. Multiple plays where he draws 2 or sometimes 3 defenders, and then all of a sudden, boom, guys like Deuce McBride, Obi Toppin, guys who aren't advantage creators benefit off that. That's how he makes his teammates better, even without making direct assists. You see Julius Randle get a lot more direct assists because what Julius Randle does to collapse the defense is he draws doubles early and he makes the direct passes to shooters. But what RJ does that doesn't show up in the box score, but is an incredibly valuable thing, is he makes the first pass in a 3-pass sequence. And that has a ton of value, especially in a simplistic offense that's entire design is read and react. Because a read and react offense, you need something to read. You need to force a collapse. And RJ Barrett does a really good job of that when he's at his best. So yes, getting downhill, getting to those spots, creating shots is absolutely his best skill right now.
If he could just finish at the rate he did tonight, man, on like a consistent basis, that would do wonders for this team. But that is asking for a lot, I think, at this point. It seems, and we'll have to wait till next year, and hopefully, he doesn't train with Drew Hanlon again.
He's going to.
Yeah, he is. He's like dedicated to that guy.
They're shooting 57% inside 5 feet. How does that compare to last year?
All right.
RJ, 52% last year, 52% the year before, and 50% his rookie year. So, yeah, 50, 52, 52, and now 57% inside 5 feet. So there has been some improvement.
What time is our game on Tuesday? Is that like 10 o'clock or some shit?
I think
10
so.
o'clock,
Yeah.
My
Wow.
God, I'm so excited for this West Coast trip.
I hate the West Coast trips. The post games are just like
I
till
actually
like 1 a.m. It's like,
I've always been a fan of like the West Coast trip experience, but I actually hate it when the Knicks have a back to back on a weekend. I'm like, really? Yeah, had to do Saturday, Sunday, huh? Give me a break, man.
Luckily, yesterday's game was like a 4 p.m. game, so it wasn't too
Yeah.
bad. Jordan Bub asking us all about our favorite, ex-Nick. Will Cam Reddish have a good game against the Knicks on Tuesday? Answer from each of us.
Yeah,
I say no for my own sanity's sake.
I'll take this however you want it. He'll have 14 points on 11 shots. He'll look good. He'll have flashes. Maybe he'll have one rebound. He'll probably
And
have like
fans
10
will
assists.
say, "Oh man, look what we're missing out on."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I just don't really care. Like, I just care about the Knicks.
Yeah.
winning.
I don't give a shit about
much.
Cameron. The Cameron thing is so forced. Like, why is anybody upset about this? Fuck him. He is like one of the most losing players possible. Like, this guy, I'm telling you,
Dude had the nerve to say it's politics the reason why he didn't play.
he has the fucking worst net rating out of their main rotation players since he got traded there. Like, this guy's ability to suck ass, no matter how well he's playing, no matter how well he's scoring, is special. He's generational talent. He's a generational hoodwinker. Like, this guy is fucking snake oil salesman of a basketball player. It's a fucking clown, dude. I'm so sick.
Nah, his quote the other day from that Bondi thing
was
was just
crazy.
ridiculous. Like, it's
but
politics.
that quote tells you everything
that you need to know about him.
Everything you need to know. It's never his fault.
Nope.
I did see a good response to that. It was the guy. His words were something that like I agree with, but I never would have been able to put together myself. He said he responded to the Cam quote and he said Cam continuing to gain favor with Cam fan Knicks Twitter and nobody else because like yeah, when you just throw former coaches under the bus, you're just gonna keep losing. Like future coaches don't want that. Like they want no part of that, you know? And it's like, so yeah,
like you're playing for the 10th seed, which they look like they want to be the 12th seed right now, the Portland Trailblazers. Like you're playing for a team that's not actively looking to win right now. So like, of course you're going to get a whole bunch of opportunities and it's not going to be politics and all this other stuff. Like, of course you're going to get all the run that you want on the court. Like, it's ridiculous.
And we can't emphasize this enough. Like, I don't understand. Let's just put this fucking conversation to bed. The Knicks were 10-13. They were like, that's not Cam Reddish's fault. I'm not blaming Cam Reddish. He had plenty of flashes. And yeah, we talked about this last night. It was probably stupid that Tibbs was out there running 7-man rotations, yada, yada. Okay. But the Knicks were 10-13, put Grimes in the starting lineup. They're whatever they are since. Math.
30-17.
They're 30-17 since then. 30-17 with the top 5 net rating in the league. And then they traded you for Josh Hart, and they immediately
got even better.
They got even better. We don't.
And the Blazers have gotten worse, by the way. The Blazers
Right.
have literally gotten worse. They're 4-9 now with Cam since they made that trade. What is they're 31-37 overall. Do the math.
So we don't need to we don't need to bury Cam Reddish, but why do we need to?
We can.
So let's just move on. Wish him the best and move on.
We can, and he makes it very easy to when he talks like that.
It's not
right, exactly.
It's this insane segment of stands where I'm like, what are you watching with this guy, man? Like,
they're watching the sauce.
And I say that
sauce.
Like, yeah, and I get it. Like, there is like aesthetically, he's got a smooth game when he's got it going. And he can get to spots in a way that, like, not many guys his size can. Like, he's extremely fluid, very, very, very versatile. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But that being said, it's like, okay, but, it's just stupid. It's stupid.
So tonight, Cam had 11, 4, and 3 on 4 of 8 shooting. Fine. Another former Knick had 14, 5, and 1 on 6 of 7 shooting.
Kevin Knox,
baby. Maybe we're talking about the wrong former ex-Knick.
My guy,
Kevin Knox gonna have the revenge game that everyone thought Cam is gonna have. It's gonna be crazy on Tuesday. But Wildcard Frazier, he kind of puts the point, I guess, the best way. The Cam Reddish regret brigade is making me hate a player I had no real feelings for. So annoying, especially when Hart has been so outrageously valuable. Yeah. I mean, I've always disliked Cam, like even since he was at Duke. I just didn't like see it. And
So you've always been a hater.
Yeah, I've always been a hater. Nothing's changed.
Disrespect.
Yeah, been hating since day one. Not a lot of people can relate to that. I can.
I've never besides when he was a Knick, I don't know. I don't have it in me. And I know this sounds stupid because everyone knows how much I love Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, but I just don't view it like that. Like he's not a Knick anymore. I don't give a shit. Like good luck to him. I hope he finds it. But when he was a Knick, I was rooting for him, and like I got into it with some people before the season that I thought it was laughable. Like there were people who were like, "Oh yeah, we should start Cam and bench Grimes," and I was like, "No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that would be good." And but when Cam was in the starting lineup and he was balling, I wasn't worried about like my take looking stupid. Yeah. And when Grimes, joined the starting lineup, I didn't feel vindicated. It's just, to me personally, all I care about is the Knicks and the Knicks playing well. And I just don't get these people who value their agendas over rooting for the team they care about. That'll never make sense to me.
It is insane. Knicks tape, like the vid and sub to the channel, y'all. Definitely do that as we are on our way to 1K subs. BX Boy 71 says, agree with Schwinn. I curious to understand when to be aggressive and when to set up others. That is the last step in his development as a lead guard. I think that is right. That would be the last step in his development. Yep. He's collected all the infinity gems so far. That's the last one.
The infinity gems, the stones, you mean?
Gems, stones.
He has to get better. He has to get better at having refs give him and ones when they're clearly and ones.
I could not believe that. That was insane.
Just fucking maddening. He had like all this momentum, and it was like, I don't know. It was just that was so frustrating. And then of course he doubled down, going for another foul. Like he was like, "Oh, they've got to give it to me this time," and just shot some ridiculous air ball and and it's bad for him, bad for the Knicks. That was just such an annoying sequence.
Nick's tape says RJ's jumper really looks out of whack. Hope he gets it fixed soon. That will not happen if he keeps working with Drew Hanlon. I'll tell you that. I don't have faith in
this guy that we've never met, don't have any idea, never seen his practices. He catches more strays than I don't know.
He needs to just leave RJ alone.
Does he work with Joel Embiid too? He's got to be doing
Joel
something.
Embiid,
right,
Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine.
Oh my God, that guy! I'm not going to give his name. I'm not going to say his name honestly because I don't remember his name. But the dude who's always making those dumbass trade proposals on Twitter.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yes, yeah. I do. I don't even.
He brought up Zach LaVine again. Did you know that Zach LaVine's teams have never won his minutes in his entire career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not once has his team won his minutes.
It makes sense why him and DeRozan are a duo.
Oh my God, I just don't get it. Like he has an all-star teammate and they can't be a top 8 seed in the East. Why do people want this guy so bad? A 29-year-old making $200 million and his team has never once won his fucking minutes. Just please,
we can fix it.
All the best for you, Zach LaVine. Can we just stop talking about him?
Speaking of RJ though, I mean, of course he hit of course this 1-3 that he hit tonight was like off of a broken play that like just he had to throw up. That kind of explains the RJ Barrett experience, I guess, this season.
And also the Julius Randle experience. That play was started by quickly gets downhill. Randle's wide open. The defense is scrambling. He just stands there and jab steps. And all of a sudden, here we go. Reset the possession. It's like, oh, great. Okay, it's one of these possessions. And then he almost turns it over. And it's like, oh, man. So he would be so good in these moments. He doesn't have to not be a good crunch time player. He doesn't have to settle for these contested 15-footers. He could catch the ball with an advantage and go. That's an option. Mm-hmm. Like, can somebody tell him that, please?
Nope.
Because he's so good and he's so talented. Just capitalize on these advantages that your teammates create for you. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. It's very frustrating. Larry Israel. Any way you slice it, to win this game without Brunson off a back-to-back with the rest deficit takes some testicular fortitude.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think
Larry's killing it in the chat tonight.
He definitely is. He also says you want RJ to be a halfback and he moves like a fullback. I think that's in reference to Schwinn's
he moves like Mike Allstott.
Jesus, man.
It's just
Schwinn, you made a comment about it last time we were on here. Did you see Sam put out another banger on Twitter?
Oh, did he? What did he get? He
went
viral again.
100K likes. He went viral again. Dude just is.
What did you post? Was it like a picture of just like you taking a shit or something?
Bro, what?
he's hating on white chicks in New York, you know? Like he's
some shorty was
very classy. Very
some
classy.
Shorty was upset on TikTok because like some dude didn't want to pay $3 for a slice of cheese on his burger. So I said, and then she said she blocked him. She
is this that fucking video that came out like that?
Yes, and I quote tweeted it and I said he went home with a full belly, a full bank account, and a smile. Like that guy, he won. He won that night.
He did kind of win. You're right.
He won. Like he didn't have to pay for a meal. He didn't have to, and he didn't have to deal with that. He won.
I mean, $3 for a slice of cheese is insane.
That's insanity.
What the fuck? Yeah, it was crazy because I saw the video first, and then I saw because you're tweeting good shit all the time, and I saw it, and I was like 75K likes. What the fuck is going on? Like, and it's just like, all right, let's go, Sam.
I was shocked myself. I should promo the Strickland under there. I'm gonna do that.
You should, and also Tyrese needs to stop latching onto you like a backpack. You know, anytime you go viral, he's hopping in. You know, trying to get his 2 cents in.
Trying to get his 5 minutes.
I'm weak. How do you feel about this, Jordan Bub? I think we'll close out after a couple more of these comments. But he says RJ needs to get slimmer, even if it means sacrificing some strength in the process, because if you can't guard Austin Reeves in that ISO situation, that's a huge red flag. I think,
I'm sorry. You go first, Sam.
Yeah, I would say I think the bulkiness has been a bit of an issue with him this year. But like you see games like tonight where like he's like sort of able to leverage his strength on drives, but like defensively it kind of holds him back if he's not really able to, like Schwinn says, he looks like stiff and stuff like that. You wonder if he cuts back on the weight a little bit, does that help in any way? I'm not too particularly sure, but I mean that's just something to think about, I guess. But it does present an interesting, point of view right there.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Ace Zulo, I think his Twitter name is. Really good. He's really good on Twitter. He did the post game for KFS last night, and he talked about RJ's weight, and he talked about he talked about his flexibility and how like RJ doesn't ever, like, if you watch Quickly and Grimes was just terrible tonight. So like I'm not acting like Grimes was killing it out there tonight, but if you watch them navigate screens and just guard, they get so low. And RJ doesn't get low at all. He just does not have that flexibility and does not have that ability to get low. And it hurts his navigation.
It also fucks him up on offense, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so part of getting lighter would just let him, it would make him, he would get slightly more flexible and be able to, it would help him on both ends, not only with from a quickness perspective, but also with that. So, I mean, I see the merit to it. I don't know. I mean, we'll never know for sure. Like, we're not fucking experts in this area. So like, there's only so much, you can hypothesize. But it does make sense. He does seem to be plotting, especially when he's trying to navigate screens. And if you watch his tape at Duke, it seemed like he was more comfortable when he was more light-footed. So I don't know. It'll be curious to see how he handles this upcoming offseason.
Schwinn, I knew you were someone that was more of a big proponent of the whole weight thing earlier in the year as well. Do you
Yeah, I
still
mean,
feel that
the
way?
weight stuff with him is just weird. I really don't know what to make of it. Like, it's just weird. I really don't like RJ's season to me is as weird as Randall's season last year was. So I'm kind of just like waiting for it to be over, and then we can see what happens. Like I there are still stretches he gives you where I'm like, okay, this guy's a piece, but then you also get like, we've seen way too many stretches where you're also like, what the hell is he doing out there? So that part is tough. I don't. Arsenal need to get slimmer, even if it means sacrificing some strength in the process. Because if you can't card Arsenal Reads in an ISO situation, that's a huge red flag. I agree. That is a red flag. I still don't know if McDaniel is 100% there yet, but McDaniel is definitely way more ready for it than RJ has shown this year. So
yeah. That's good shit, JL.
Knicks are on a 10-game win streak when Trevor Keels is on the roster. So I don't know what else to say right there.
There you go.
I think we'll end here.
Never should have cut him.
Shout out to Trevor Keels.
Shout out to everybody that rocked with us.
Definitely. We had like 45 people out here at one point. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe. Check out all the links to Strickland related stuff in the description. We got links to the merch that Schwinn and Jeff are rocking right now. I got in front of me in a box on the floor under my desk, and I showed off in the last post game. Check out links to the site, Patreon, and Twitter, all great ways to support us. We're also on Instagram at the strick.land, another great way to consume Knicks Strickland related content. So definitely check all that out. We will be back on Tuesday night, or actually probably Wednesday morning at that point, because it's freaking 10 p.m. start, and post game will be at like 12 a.m. or whatever it is. But yeah, definitely check that. We will be back then on Wednesday morning after the Blazers game. Hopefully the Knicks are able to pull out another win and don't have to deal with Cam Reddish having a good game. But yeah, everyone enjoy your Monday. Peace out.